Have you ever wondered why the most recent election data isn't available from the Redistricting Data Hub yet? Well, this is the video for you. If you're only interested in a quick answer to this question, stick with us for 90 more seconds. We'll hit the highlights first, then do a deeper dive for those who want more details. Here are the top 5 reasons why election data isn't available immediately after an election. Number 1. Tracking down precinct maps. In many states, precinct maps must be collected county by county, and some states have a lot of counties. Contacting officials in these counties to obtain data or clarify issues can be extremely time-consuming. Number 2. Converting these precinct maps to the right format. Maps can be a digital format that is ready for use, or they may be PDFs, photographs of maps on the wall, or even textual descriptions. Number 3. Reformatting election results. Precinct-level election results are rarely in the ideal format for our work. We may need to combine data from multiple files, transpose the data so that each row is a precinct and each column is a candidate, or even transcribe the results from PDFs to a format we can use. Number 4. Combining the data. Once we have the precinct maps and election results in formats we can use, combining the two datasets can be tricky. Often the names of the precincts differ between the two files, so we have to manually match them, and a state can have thousands of precincts. Combining precinct maps from many counties within a state can also create small gaps or overlaps in the shapes that may need to be resolved. Number 5. Making adjustments based on data validation. We validate our data prior to posting it, and sometimes that process can reveal a lot of issues. These issues need to be addressed, often by reaching back out to county officials and making manual corrections based on the information they provide. Once we've done all this, we have what we call a precinct boundary and election results file. This file is essential for drawing legally compliant maps and identifying gerrymanders. Now, let's dive in to explain these issues in more detail. Number 1. Tracking down precinct maps. Although some states collect and compile every county's precinct map into a statewide file, many do not. When statewide data is not available, we first search individual county government pages to see if they have a map of their precincts available online. For example, our search in Rankin County, Mississippi, produces several related links, including one to view county GIS maps. A quick scan of the layers list shows that it has the one we want: voting precincts. To make things more complicated, not every county calls them precincts, so we may need to try a few alternative search terms, like wards or election districts. If there is no map posted, however, our next step is reaching out to the appropriate official to request one. In some cases, we may need to contact an official even if there is a map available online to confirm its adoption date or whether the boundaries of the precincts have changed since the map was posted. The process of identifying and contacting the correct official can also be a challenge. The responsible party varies from state to state and even within a state. It could be someone at a board of elections, a circuit clerk, or someone in the GIS department. County officials are also very busy juggling multiple requests and other responsibilities, so it can take some time for them to dig into our question and get back to us. Once we have a county's precinct map, the file format can present new challenges. Because these maps are maintained locally, file formats vary widely, even within a single state. More densely populated counties may have a GIS department that has already created a shapefile for the precinct map. A shapefile is a common format for geospatial data, which is data that corresponds to locations in geographic space and what we need to make election results available for redistricting purposes. In other counties, they may send what they have available: a PDF, a textual description, or a photo of a paper map on the wall. Sometimes the data is broken down by precinct and must be combined into a single county-wide file. For example, this county has one PDF for the rural areas of the county, as well as separate ones for precincts in a village and a city. Files that are not in a geospatial format must be transformed before we can proceed to the next step. This involves converting any maps that are provided as PDFs, photos, or textual descriptions into a geospatial format. This is done through the process of georeferencing, or associating images to locations on a map. This process must be completed for all counties within a state that do not already have precinct maps in a geospatial format. Number 3, reformatting election results. Election results are usually available at the state level from the Secretary of State's office. But again, file format and level of detail can vary greatly from state to state. In some cases, the data for the entire state is broken down by precincts, while in others, the precinct-level data is only available by county, county equivalent, or township, and must be combined into a single file. The file format of election results also varies from state to state. Some provide data in usable, tabular formats, while others may host it as a PDF. PDF results must be transcribed to a tabular format, which can be quite time-consuming and requires quality control checks to ensure accuracy. Our data partner Open Elections does a lot of transcription work, and we are grateful for their efforts. Even when the data is available in a tabular format, it may need to be transformed. Compatibility with geospatial data requires that each precinct is in its own row with a column for each candidate. The election results you see here are set up in the opposite way, so it must be converted. Number 4, combining the data. Once we have geospatial data for all precincts in every county, we can begin to combine or join them into a single statewide file. However, even at this stage, we can run into difficulties. In particular, we may find overlaps or gaps between precincts. These are exactly what they sound like. Overlaps are areas assigned to multiple precincts, and gaps are areas not assigned to any precinct. In some cases, gaps may be purposeful. For example, if there is a large lake where no one lives and the county does not assign it to a precinct. But other gaps may not be purposeful, and overlaps rarely, if ever, are. Then, to join the precinct maps with the election results, both files must have the same number of precincts, and precinct names within the two files must be identical. It is not uncommon to run into issues where the two files use similar names that aren't exact matches. For example, a mismatch would occur if an election results file spells out a full precinct name, while the precinct map uses an abbreviation or a number instead of a word. In other cases, precinct names in these two files are very different, and we may need to contact a county official to confirm what we think should be paired with what. Sometimes there is a mismatch between the number of precincts due to the way early, absentee, overseas military, or other ballots are reported. In several states, these are reported under a single pseudo-precinct rather than the one assigned to the voter's home address. Since the pseudo-precinct does not exist in physical space, it also does not exist in the precinct map, and those votes must be allocated to physical precincts to be included in a precinct boundary and election results file. Some states allocate these votes, but many do not, and so we will need to estimate where these votes should be allocated. Number 5, making adjustments based on validation. After joining the files, the data is validated using voter registration data. Voter registration files contain voters' addresses, which can be geolocated, and their assigned precincts. As a result, we can plot voters according to their assigned precincts to check whether those voters all appear in the correct precinct on the map. During this process, we may see signs that our precinct maps need to be adjusted. Confirming that information typically requires additional outreach to the appropriate local official. Once the data has been validated and any concerns resolved, we are finally able to upload a statewide precinct boundary and election results file that can be used in mapping tools like Dave's Redistricting app. Clearly, there is a lot of time, energy, and technical skill that goes into making a high-quality election results file that can be used for redistricting. But, as we mentioned throughout, the amount of effort that goes into making a file varies widely from state to state. States that provide accurate, statewide precinct boundary files, precinct-level election results for the entire state in a single file, and files that contain matching precinct names can often be joined relatively easily. Conversely, states that require collecting data county by county and extensive processing can take months of work. If data for your state is not yet available, it may be because your state does not make it easy to produce such a file. So, is there anything that you can do about it? Yes! You can contact your Secretary of State or state legislators to request they improve the accessibility and usability of election data. And maybe, after the next round of elections, you'll be able to visualize election results for redistricting much more quickly.